Mahayogi Prabhu wrote me yesterday, and we're happy to share good news. And so actually Mahayogi is very practical. He voice messaged me yesterday, and he said, yeah, because it's on a voice message, I can't read it, can I? But he said, essentially, he said, I'm over the moon that today we put in the Premadama Deva Stotram for printing. And he's been working on a voice, not a voice, poetic version of Premadama Deva Stotram. And you know, Mahayogi, he's like very studious, and I've known him since he was a skinny brahmachari a long time ago in a previous millennium. So we go back a long, long way. And he's always been like very brainy, very careful for English. And he's got, you know, hundreds, maybe thousands books and literature books and all these things. Anyway, he's been making Premadama Deva Stotram into poetry form for some time. And really it is, you know, well, I can't say pretty good, it is good. And basically I'm thinking there's nobody except for Mahayogi who could try, you know, who could make it at all successful, because he's so careful with the English words and giving them meaning, but he's able to make the meter, more or less, he's able to make the meter and keep the meaning. Because, you know, we've seen the attempts to make poetry, sometimes the meaning gets a little, okay, we've got to divert the meaning a little bit in order to find words which will rhyme. But he's done a very, I mean, really a very sweet, a very good job. And in consultation with Goswami Maharaj. And actually, Mahayogi and Goswami Maharaj, they were the team. Yes, of course, others who are helping in many ways, but they were the team that brought together those books from San Jose, Search for Shri Krishna, Shri Guru and His Grace, etc., all those years ago. So with consultation and approval of Goswami Maharaj, then this has now matured, and yesterday went to the printer. So he said, I'm over the moon that today this has got to the printer, because it's always an achievement. And then yesterday morning, so I wrote to him, I was asking him, which moon are you over? Because yesterday morning in Chaitanya Charitamrita to be read, quote, the face of Krishna is the king of all moons, and the body of Krishna is the throne. So the face is the king of all moons, and the body of Krishna is the throne. Thus, the king governs a society of moons. So the king of all moons and the body of Krishna is the throne. Thus the king governs a society of moons. And sometimes we definitely need the purports. And this is a case for me. And the purport is, the entire face is called the king of moons. This is about Krishna. The entire face is called the king of moons. The mouth of Krishna is another moon. His left cheek is a moon, and the right cheek is a moon. The spots of sandalwood pulp on Krishna's face are also considered different moons. And his fingernails and toenails are also different moons. His forehead is considered a half moon. His face is considered the king of moons, and his body is considered the throne. All the other Chandras, moons, are considered to be subordinate moons. So just share that with you too. I mean, lovely descriptions. We're meant to be hearing about the descriptions of Krishna, his pastimes, his Leela, his form, all these things, his name, all these things we're meant to be hearing about. So anyway, we were all very happy yesterday reading this. And then when Mahayogi said, oh, I'm over the moon, we just thought we should check which moon it is. And then guess what his reply was? Thanks, Maharaj. I think it's the Gora moon or Gora Chandra. So there we are. Also classic Mahayogi Maharaj. He's got your Mahayogi Prabhu. He's giving us the Gora Siddhanta with his moon. All right, and welcome to Jayadev Prabhu and Chintamani Devi Dasi. You look like you are frozen in joy, well, not frozen, heated frozen in joy in the Arizona desert. Hare Krishna. So we are gathered here today on America. In America, it is indeed Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami's disappearance day, Raghunath Bhatta Goswami's disappearance day, Raghunath Das Goswami's disappearance day in America. And is it anything else? I think that was about, that was everything for our yesterday and your today. And so not to pass by that day when we get a special day, then Gurudev and Guru Maharaj, they would generally speak something about the relevance of the day or the persons. And so it is a good opportunity for us to remember. I think we can start with Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami because we are reading Chaitanya Charitamrita. I think all of us are reading Chaitanya Charitamrita every day. And as Guru Maharaj pointed out, the highest book ever to see the light of day, in that it is giving us everything within Chaitanya Charitamrita. And Guru Maharaj saying that if all the scriptures of the world are burnt in some big universal fire, but only Chaitanya Charitamrita remains, nothing is lost. So this king or queen or crown of all books, Chaitanya Charitamrita, penned by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj. So there is no limit to be able to try to express his glories. And we hear so many things about Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. And for us, our family, if you like, we have a very sweet connection with him because his temple, the temple of Vṛndāvan Chandra, the deity that he installed, though that deity is now just around the corner in the Radha Damodara temple, but his temple in Vṛndavan came automatically, you can say, to Srila Govinda Maharaj's service by the wish of the senior Dhamvasis, the leading devotees in Vṛndavan. They didn't want this to go to so many who are wanting to purchase it for some commercial gain, but they wanted it to be properly served. And that servitor they knew as Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Maharaj. So for us, it's a very special place when we do the pilgrimages. And by the way, soon, on the 31st, 2 days from now, we're going to start Kartik pilgrim by ether or internet. And actually after this call, immediately, I can't talk too long today because in another 40 minutes or so, I have another regular call. So quickly, I'll just say that we are doing Kartik Parikrama digitally, but the details will come out today within the next few hours about the link and what time, etc. And the most important places for us are the places of the savor of our gurus, the savor, of course, of Mahaprabhu Krishna, but very close to heart are the places of Srila Gurudev and Srila Guru Maharaj. And so the Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami building is one of the very first places that we go to on the Parikrama when we come to Vṛndavan. And so much emphasis on how Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has presented through making himself absolutely empty for the current of Rupa Goswami and the current of Mahaprabhu to flow through his pen. And the current of Radha Madana Gopal too, who is nearby, as some of you know, up on the very famous picture in Vṛndavan on the top of the hill, a small hill near the Jamuna. So with his humility, he made himself, the instrument for manifesting this book by the grace of the Vaishnavas and the Lord. So Chaitanya Charitamrita is our life and soul. And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he not only penned the Chaitanya Charitamrita, he penned books that we don't read, the books which are for the actual liberated section and which we worship. So I don't have a list in front of me, but various other books he wrote. And also very beautifully, we all love to sing Jaya Radhe, Jaya Krishna, Jaya Vṛndavan. And that Kirtan is reminding us of the pastimes, the places of his pastimes, the devotees connected with his pastimes. And this in a very short verse, bringing always joy to the devotees' hearts. And I can say from my side, I can just say one thing about Krishnadas Kaviraj's temple too. In the summer in Vṛndavan, it can be very hot and very dry. And there can be no electricity, just add that to it also. And especially on those days when there's no electricity, and even when there was electricity, one of the most cooling places I know of in Vṛndavan is sitting on the plinth just in front, and literally at his temple, but just in front of the altar doors that open, just beside the altar there. Somehow it is just naturally cool without any fan or anything. It is just such a sweet place. And that was, you could say, physically our refuge, or my refuge, especially when the electricity was off. But it was just such a wonderful place to be, to chant japa, to do seva, to do the things that we do day by day. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Memorial is now there under the care of the mat in Vṛndavan. Also, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswamis had another budget. Well, they all moved around. They weren't fixed, but his main temple, the temple he established in Vṛndavan under our care. And when we go to Radhakund and Shyamakund on the Parikrama of Govardhan, then also he has a bhajan kutir there of Krishnadas Kaviraj, because we know they're in different places. So there is a place there where also he would do bhajan and was fairly established, and where some of the Chaitanya Charitamrita no doubt was written. And it is at the confluence of Radhakund and Shyamakund. And now there are some buildings right in front of his bhajan kutir. But we understand and we know that at that time, he would have had the full view of what is there. And for those of you who have been or not been also to the Parikrama of Govardhan Hill, very close. I mean, very close means how many footsteps? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, about 23 footsteps from Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami's bhajan kutir is a small temple, but sweet temple, called the Teen Samādhi Mandir, the 3 Samadhis temple. And that is the Samadhis of Krishnadas Kaviraj, Raghunath Das Goswami, and Raghunath Bhatta Goswami. And we understand that part of their ashes, because they were each cremated, we understand, because of the risk of the Yavanas, the Mlechas, the Muslims were coming to cause a lot of havoc at that time in Vṛndavan and Govardhan and that whole area. And we know something of the history, how many of the temples were destroyed, and the deities also, but the deities, as far as possible, were rescued, or by themselves they went to different places for safety. So at that time, also out of fear that the bodies of the saints would be desecrated, then they were cremated. And we know that in the case of Raghunath Bhatta Goswami also, that the younger section who were there after Raghunath Bhatta, whose disappearance day today, in American time, it is, then the decision was made also, although he's one of the 6 Goswamis, to cremate his body. So some ashes, we understand that at the Teen Samādhi Mandir, which is right there, as we just mentioned, 22 steps, and it is just very close to the join between Radhakund and Shyamakund. And then in Vṛndavan village, Vṛndavan town, Then Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has his Samadhi there also. And that is right very close to his temple, probably 22 steps if there wasn't another building in the way. 22 steps from his temple is his Samadhi there at the Radha Damodar temple, to the left of the Radha Damodar temple. And right next to Jiva Goswami's Samadhi there. And Rupa Goswami's Samadhi, you know, is on the other side of the temple in its own separate compound. So very briefly, Krishnadas Kaviraj, so important. And then 6 Goswamis of Vṛndavan. 6 Goswamis of Vṛndavan. And we know Raghunath Das Goswami, extraordinarily renunciated. And from the very beginning of his coming to Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri, then his renunciation was extreme. He renounced the greatest wealth, the most beautiful wife, name, fame, prestige, all the things which were absolutely abundant on him as basically a royal personality in West Bengal. And then he came by the grace of Nityananda, the Panihati festival, showing how we have to get the grace of Nityananda to come to Mahaprabhu. So Raghunath Das Goswami, then his life was of renunciation, but once he got Nityananda's grace at the Panihati festival, then he came to Puri by the long way round, but then in Puri, his renunciation increased and increased, but he stayed with Mahaprabhu all the way through till Mahaprabhu's disappearance. And so he was there all the way through. And then when Mahaprabhu left the world, his feeling was that I will also leave the world. What use is my body now? Whatever use of this birth is now complete. But he had the desire, because remember, he'd been in Puri with Mahaprabhu all the time. So he had the desire to once go and see Govardhan Hill, once go and give his obeisances to Rupa and Sanat and the other sadhus in Vṛndavan. And then his plan was to commit suicide by jumping off Govardhan Hill. But this was his beginning plan. So some devotees have joined us in the meantime. So Narayani Didi, there in California, welcome. Dayavati Didi, there in Southern California, means Mexico, which is it's all California. In fact, I think California was Mexico. It's all Krishna's land. Anyway, Dayavati Didi, and Prafulla no doubt is nearby somewhere. Very good. And Madhavi Didi Devidasi has joined us. Rupa Nuga Prabhu has joined us. And I think everybody else, quick look on the screen. Yes. Oh, Ramananda Prabhu. Ramananda Prabhu has joined us too. So in the last few minutes, have joined. We're just, yes, Dandavat Prabhu. So yes, my Dandavat to each and every devotee. So we're just covering a little bit, really doing what will please Gurudev and Guru Maharaj, saying a little bit at least something about Krishnadas Kaviraj, Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami. It's their disappearance day today. But I should point out, it is their disappearance day today, but not the same year. Each devotee passed away in each of these passed away in a different year, but the same calendar day as today. So we're just mentioning something about Rupa Goswami. Sorry, we weren't. Oh, well, we were a little bit before, a tiny bit, but something about Raghunath Das Goswami. So his desire was to go and meet Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, see Govardhan Hill, and then he's thinking, that's the end of this chapter of my life, this body of my life, this body. And now Mahaprabhu is gone. It was intolerable for him to live. But then when he went to Vṛndavan and met with Rupa and Sanatan, he felt so strongly, here is Mahaprabhu. Here's Mahaprabhu living in these Vaishnavas and in the seva that they are doing. And his heart was melted by that. And then he took shelter there. And Rupa and Sanatan, they understood, okay, Mahaprabhu, what service will he do? Because everybody will do service. As we know, when we go to Chaitanya Saraswati Math, Gurudev always wanting that, okay, you can stay 3 or 4 days as a pilgrim visitor. After that, everybody is doing some service. And so they're considering what seva will be for Raghunath Das Goswami. And then they understood Mahaprabhu had given him, Raghunath Das, his Mahaprabhu's personal Giriraj Shila, small Giriraj stone, Giriraj Shila. And not only a Giriraj, but it was Mahaprabhu's like dear Giriraj. It's told he would hold him to his tears, he would bathe him with the tears from his eyes, hold him to his heart, and by rubbing on his thumb, rubbing on the stone, it made the imprint in the Govardhan Shila of Mahaprabhu's thumb. This is not the way that we will all worship Giriraj. We'll use a bit more, some other formalities in the worship, but this is Mahaprabhu and Giriraj, and a wonderful method of worship, you can say. Literally heart and thumb method of worship, and Abhishek with tears. So Mahaprabhu gave that Giriraj to Raghunath Das Goswami. So Rupa and Sanatana understood that Mahaprabhu by this is giving Raghunath Das Goswami savor of Govardhan. So they gave him this service opportunity for developing Radha Kund and Shyama Kund, which, as we know, before Mahaprabhu, nobody knew where they were. Mahaprabhu himself revealed where is Radha Kund and Shyama Kund. So it was just paddy fields, means the rice fields. And so this savor, Raghunath Das Goswami, he stayed there in Radha Kund, means at the rice fields, and developed into Radha Kund and Shyama Kund. But also Guru Maharaj points out in like a very sweet way how Raghunath Das Goswami so often was not of this world, so he wasn't always so practical for managing the construction of the digging and the making the stairs beside, etc. So Jiva Goswami, being younger and not of this world also, but able to practically like look after things of this world, the Jiva Goswami substantially assisted with Raghunath Das's development of Radha Kund and Shyama Kund. Anyway, when we go to Radha Kund, Shyama Kund, that part of the parikrama, the very first thing we do, we sort of, like a horse has blinkers like this, we go on our parikrama and we go first to Raghunath Das Goswami's Samādhi, which is right there beside Radha Kund. And we give some donation, we do parikrama, but we're going to take his permission, not just a formality, we go there, bow down and then go on. Really, we go there with the mood that we take his permission, that we can come here. We're now coming, we know on the outer cover, that whatever cover Krishna's put over these wonderful places, but we're coming with great respect and care to Radha Kund and Shyama Kund, taking 3 drops of water or a few drops of water on our head, and trying to walk on our head, also as Guru Maharaj said, in the holy dham, to walk on our heads, not on our feet, means that we have to put our feet on the ground because we're made this way up. But our mood with every step is that it's our head that's on the ground. And you know, in India and Indian culture, to touch anything with one's feet is considered as a great insult. And to kick somebody is considered a great insult. And by the way, yesterday, watched with the devotees here in the morning and evening program, some in the morning, some in the evening. We completed in the evening, watched a video of Guru Maharaj. And Guru Maharaj said about the difference, something of the difference in natures between Vṛndāvan Das Thakur and Krishna Das Kaviraj. And one of those differences in the natures was that Krishna Das Kaviraj taking like the very humble position towards the devotees and how he worships the devotees, takes the foot dust of the devotees now and in anyone in the future who will come to read this Chaitanya Charitamrita. I take their foot dust on my head. But Guru Maharaj said, but a different nature was Vṛndāvan Das Thakur. He is saying, after so much pointing out who is Nityananda and who Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is, at great length, he said, and finally, if anybody doesn't accept this, please try to accept all this. I've told it with full logic, full explanation, full heart, full everything. Please take it. If you don't take it, finally, and those who won't accept, I will kick them in the head. And then Guru Maharaj added, which I hadn't registered before. He said, kick them with the left, kick them on the head with my left foot. So, also, in India, right and left, the left side, the left is kind of inauspicious. So first of all, to kick somebody is like the biggest insult. Don't do it, especially in India. And number two, to kick somebody with the left foot is like even more than a great insult. So anyway, so that's a little difference between Krishnadas Kaviraj and Vṛndāvan Das Thakur. So when we go to Radhakund, Shyamakund, we try to have the mood, we're not putting our feet in these holiest places, so we're walking on our head. So we go to Radhakund, Shyamakund. First, we go to the Samādhi of Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, and then very nearby is that teen Samādhi, because that is also, it's all very nearby, but instead of 22 steps, it is 42 steps from there to the teen Samādhi. And then then the third, Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, disappearance day. Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, he was very scholarly, gave beautiful discourses on Bhagavatam, so beautiful that Mahaprabhu would melt to hear, his heart would melt to hear the recitation of Raghunath Bhatta Goswami. And Raghunath Bhatta Goswami would sing each verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. He would recite in singing way. Every verse is every word is a song, right? But he would sing the verses of Bhagavatam in at least 3 different tunes. So one verse, he's not just reading to get to the end of the chapter. He's relishing and reading each verse of Srimad Bhagavatam going through. And he was very famous for this. The 6 Goswamis, another of the 6 Goswamis of Vṛndavan. And again, we know there are more than 6. There are different Goswamis, but there's 6 prominent Goswamis of Vṛndavan, which have come to be so famous. Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, Raghunath Das, Raghunath Bhatta, Gopal Bhatta Goswami, and Jiva Goswami. So these 6 Goswamis, and Gopal Bhatta, Raghunath Bhatta Goswami. He also very famously in his seva, the service that he was doing, he arranged the construction, oversaw the construction of Govindaji's temple, the deity of Govindaji, that Rupa Goswami had so much difficulty to find. It means he searched everywhere to find the deity, and then finally discovered Govinda. After hearing from the villagers, he tried everywhere to find, he cannot find, but he knows that Govindaji must be present somewhere. And so he asked to the villagers, and the villagers, they said no, and all over they all said, no, we don't know anything. And then in one place they said, but there is something strange that you may consider. That is that on the top of a hill just here, a cow every day goes up onto that hill and stands on the top of the hill and pours her milk into a hole at the top of the hill. And we are all surprised by this, but it's part of our life. We just accept it. It's an everyday matter, not every day for most of us, to see a cow go to the same place and just give her water into a hole. And then in his meditation, Rupa Goswami understands that there is Govindaji. So carefully excavated, and there, beautiful Govindaji, who now is in Jaipur, at the king's palace. the center of the town. Anyhow, that's another story. But then after the rediscovery of Govindaji, then Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, he arranged the construction of that beautiful Govindaji temple, iconic Govindaji temple there in Vṛndavan on the top of the hill. And later, yes, it was desecrated by the Muslims. We are all very sad to say, but they had their campaign for colonizing India, for taking over India, and with much force. Then they did many things, but still they demolished the top 4 stories perhaps of that temple. It was a very grand and tall temple made of sandstone, but they left the lower section. So still until today, we've got some glimpse of the glory of the wonderful temple that was created there. And that was made through one of the wealthy disciples. Money comes from somewhere, and through one of, or probably a collaboration of wealthy disciples, but one Man Mohan Singh, a disciple of Raghunath, Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, he has given much credit for making that temple. I think I have the name right, but I'm pretty sure we've gone there many times. And his Samādhi, and his body was cremated also, Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, because of the risk of the Muslims and desecration. And his Samādhi is there in the garden where he used to stay, very close. Govindaji is on the top of the hill, and at the bottom of, if you look from the temple, the bottom of the hill, turn right and left, sort of little diagonally to the right, just nearby. More than 12 paces, more than 22 paces. Oh, this one is a few hundred paces. Then that's where Raghunath Bhatta would stay, principally when he was managing the construction of the temple, etc. And today there is one beautiful big tree, beautiful tree there. And we cannot say who is the tree, etc. But we're in Vṛndavan, and the most elegant tree with huge, giving shade in all directions through branches, which are like stout branches, but going in all directions, going out, giving shade. And that's another place in the summer where you'd realize the difference between shade, like just getting some shade, and the shade of a tree, or the shade of trees. Trees give nature's air conditioning, whereas just shade by an awning or the concrete shelter or something, that is not the same as being under trees, and especially magnificent trees like that. So Raghunath Bhatta and Krishna's Kaviraj disappearance day today. In the western side, Rupanuga Prabhu, it was yesterday for us on this side of the world, but for them, it's today. Hare Krishna. Anybody has a Rupanuga Prabhu? Oh, you gave a glimpse of your form there. Everything is good, Rupanuga Prabhu, good? Okay, you look radiant. You have a halo behind you. Now only your halo and not you. Okay, you and your halo now. Oh, look here. We have a new entry. There's a chair. Bring a chair. And here is Keshavananda Prabhu.
All the devotees
emerging from the dark. Come a bit forward, because otherwise they won't see you. Oh, look, this is Kala Chan. This is Praneshwari, who's looking after us all. She is our mom. And then mostly everybody and I think everybody knows Keshavananda Prabhu. He's world famous, though he says he's world infamous.
Hare Krishna.
So you judge for yourself. I'll say world famous. Are you, Praneshwari, are you putting up your hand to say something, or are you giving a American Indian greeting.
But I just wanted to confirm the name is in Samādhi Temple because I'm looking online for a reference for the spelling and I couldn't get it.
Ek dui teen, 1, 2, 3, teen.
In Samādhi Temple, that's the name.
Didi, we are not disciples of Google. Really, what is on Google, not everything is correct for sure. And if you can't find it, I'm happy. It's a secret place. Come with us on our pilgrimage, we'll take you there.
Joy.
And also, which I didn't mention, right, very close to there, as we now, you've transported us back to the teen Samādhi Mandir. Then we mentioned Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. I counted it out, 22 paces. I think, or did I say 12 paces? No, it must be 22 paces. Depends how big your paces are. I mean, very near. But also very near there is Raghunath Das Goswami's Bhajan Kutir. And later on, Vishwanath Chakravarti's Bhajan Kutir, right beside Raghunath Das. This is a very intense area of the spiritual world and the world here that we can see on the cover. And the trees of the Pandavas and all these things. And by the way, the Leela that we understand of the manifestation of Radha Kund is coming from Arishtashura. Arishtashura, a great demon who took the form of a bull. But we read this week how Arishtashura, this bull, a furious bull, and if you ever see even a regular furious bull in this world is, very powerful, and you want to get out of the way, very mighty thing, humping and pushing. We've seen them fighting in India. One of the biggest bullfights I saw was in Puri, quite near our temple, and 2 male bulls are obviously competing either for the females or for that area or something, but they were very displeased with each other. And it was in the street, and everybody scattered everywhere. These bulls were furious. Anyway, Arishtashura, he was such a bull that he touched the clouds in the sky, it's told. I mean, so many furious things about Arishtashura. And in one verse, it's saying Arishtashura and what's the horse? Keshi. Yes. Keshi, and Keshi Ghat near our temple in Vṛndavan. And Keshi, who was a furious horse, the demons, they have their ways of showing their different furious forms. And they said these were the very manifestation, what is it, of the air, the prana of Kamsa. Like this. This is a description of Arishtashura and Keshi, the manifestation of the breathing of Kamsa, because Kamsa was so envious and angry and fearful of Krishna. He wanted to kill him by all means. So it's Arishtashura, this demon, who was an instrument for the manifestation of the original manifestation, as we may say, though not original, Leela manifestation of Radha Kund. Hare Krishna. What more can I say? Oh, I can say, here's Keshavananda Prabhu. He's come for a reason.
Hare Krishna.
But we don't have time to the Kijai say.
Oh, that's no problem. I'm just happy to see the devotees.
I probably woke him up because there is a pipe. Apparently there's a pipe from this room, and I haven't really seen where it is. Oh, maybe there. There's an open pipe, maybe from the ventilator or something before, that goes upstairs, which is the dormitory. And upstairs here is where Keshwananda, Munindra Mohan and others are staying there. So they can also hear us. Sorry, Munindra. We already woke up Keshavananda.
Hare Krishna.
And Divya Shakti. Any question from anybody? We've been talking just briefly about the three Teen Samādhi, the disappearance of Raghunath Basa, Raghunath Das, and Krishnadas Kaviraj. Any question for Keshavananda Prabhu? Because he's come, we can hear something from him. Okay, Keshavananda Prabhu, this is the back to basics. Absolutely, what do we have to have in our Krishna consciousness that we shall never forget?
That we shall never forget. Well, I'm going to say, Maharaj, that the association and service of the Vaishnava, number one. Everything coming to the Vaishnava, everything, we throw words around like transcendental and inconceivable, but actually the depth of these words is unimaginable. And just recently with Maharaj, we were reading, I think it was Sermons 3 or possibly Sermons 1, where Guru Maharaj is talking about the holy name, and he says, but actually, it was Gurudev in Revealed Truth, I think, who says that this transcendental sound vibration, it's not what you can hear. It's not just those molecules vibrating into your ear. That has its own value, but the substantial thing is not that. It's something different, and it comes out of the heart of the Vaishnava. In Gurudev's words, it's a heart transaction. It comes out of the heart of the devotee, where Govinda lives. We sing it on disappearance days, Tomara Hridoya Sada, Govinda Vishram. Govinda Vishram, he stays in the Tomara Hridoya, in your heart, the Vaishnava's heart. Govinda Kahena, Govinda says, Mama Vaishnava Mama Parana, Mama Vaishnava Parana. The Vaishnavas are my life and soul. They're inextricably bound together. So we have to have that. Otherwise, it's very difficult with a pile of books, and something is there, were no doubt, but the substance comes with the connection to service of the Vaishnava, the sadhu, the devotee. So every day in our songs, you see the hearts of the devotees being expressed. Please don't send me away from your beautiful reddish lotus feet. Please keep me with you. Don't forget me. If I have to be born in heaven or hell, I don't really care, but please let it be in the home of a devotee. Let me be. Don't let me go away from this. Don't let me, forget, drift away, just lose enthusiasm and become dry and lifeless form of something. Don't let Krishna consciousness just become the wallpaper of our lives, as we've heard Goswami Maharaj expressing like that, some dusty books on a shelf. And the enthusiasm comes through the devotees, comes through association, and comes from the higher Vaishnavas. Guru Maharaj would say we want to associate with the successful students in the class. That's what we need there. We need them, and they will give us the enthusiasm to be good students and successful in our practice and lessons, and follow them. So we've heard it many times, but it's the truth that connection with the devotees and with the Vaishnava is practically everything. With that, and with some sincerity, we're also praying for every day that then we're in a very happy position, and we will learn, and we will be changed by the association and affectionate instruction of the Vaishnava. So, so whether it's online or whether it's in person, however it is, we're very fortunate. And just seeing everyone's names is making me happy, because I haven't been, I'm not, this is my first ever back to basics.
And for Keshavanandru, who's got a sore throat, we'll give him one of these.
Ooh, Mahaprashadam.
They came from Manindra Mohan Prabhu.
Oh, Mahaprashadam. Molto bene. Thank you, Maharaj. So,
one thing is, I'm going to have to stop very soon because we've got another program.
Yeah. Good. Yeah, unless there's a question.
Okay, I have another question, because they're all very quiet and shy because they're seeing
it's
your
very early,
exalted
Maharaj, so.
Okay, that is, so you have 3 minutes to make everybody Krishna consciousness, because really I have to go because we have another appointment which we've got to attend. Yeah.
3 minutes to make everyone Krishna.
Yeah, make everybody, including me, Krishna consciousness within 3 minutes. Now you've got 2 minutes on me.
Well, back to Hare Krishna. Just keep on coming and keep on keeping on. It's the greatest adventure, the greatest journey of our life. It's so the journey is wonderful, the destination is wonderful. Every day we are hearing astonishing things, like especially with Madhusudana Maharaj. We live in a permanent state of chamatkara, because he's just presenting what Guru Maharaj said on this, and what Gurudev, this book and this talk and this something. And it's the land of wonder. It is the land of wonder and astonishment. That's why this chamatkar word and others like it, just coming up all the time. The devotees were astonished. Mahaprabhu himself was astonished. And we're astonished. We're astonished how amazing and wonderful and all harmonious it is. We heard Guru Maharaj yesterday. I think Maharaj was talking about Raghunath, Vṛndavan Das Thakur. Did you mention Vṛndavan Das Thakur?
Oh, we mentioned this for kicking
in the head.
We mentioned this earlier.
And Guru Maharaj is speaking and saying how he heard directly from the lotus lips of his Guru Maharaj.
Like a revelation.
Saraswati Thakur, how this could be harmonized. And you can see in him, he's saying absolute, complete harmony. Everything can be harmonized by the Vaishnava. All these apparent contradictions held inconceivably in the hand of the sweet absolute. And there is no anarchy there. We just need the eyes to see it. And that comes through the devotees. Ki Jai.
Okay, dear devotees, and I see a message here, sorry, I didn't see it before, from Jayadev Prabhu and Chintamani.
Oh.
No sound from us today. Thank you for having us. You're very welcome, and all of you are very welcome, but I have another online thing in just a few minutes. We have to set up for it because it's also a different setup. So please excuse, I need to go, but please, you may all stay together. Chant Hare Krishna, be happy. And when we can, when there's like a congregation of devotees, we're very happy that you actually get out mridanga, kartals, do some bhajan, and we join you, join the kirtan. But we're not all together in one temple, as it were, today, so we don't have a little gathering there. But please excuse, I need to make an exit left, as they say on the stage, right?
Yes.
Or exit right. I don't know which way. Which way is left?
Through a trapdoor on the floor.
Through a trapdoor on the floor, and we need to make our move. So one and all, my Dandavat Pranam, and of course, all glories are wonderful. Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Maharaj, wonderful Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Rakha Sridhar Deva Swami Maharaj, and to wonderful, generous Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and to grandfather section, Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and the Rupa Nuga Sampadaya. Vanchakalpatarubhischa, Kripa Sindhuvya Evacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo, Namo Namah. And Praneshwari Didi, if you want, you can show them where we were yesterday up in the Alps. I sent you a picture in the WhatsApp.
I saw it. I saw it. Maharaj, so for Saturday, we'll see you.
This time, same time as today, is it?
Same time as today. 4 in the morning for you.
Yes,
8 PST.
You just tell everybody the time. And in good time is good. Everybody knows. I think already you sent that message.
Perfect. Perfect.
Okay, gotta go.
Bhaktiranja Madhusudana
Hey,
Maharaj
sure.
ki jai.
Edited out.
Jai.